I'm Lori Chase, and I'm interviewing SteppingStones member Sarah Green this morning. Now, Sarah, can you briefly describe your life before your brain injury, beginning with your employment?
I was working at the mall in the Halloween store helping kids pick out their costumes. After that, I worked at Alliant Metals. I worked in the office, filing away papers and helping out with the orders a little bit.
Were you still in school at this time?
Yes, I was. I was in my senior year, while juggling at the same time band, chorus, and drama. I got my injury in October. All I remember was going to bed and waking up in the hospital one night after work. They started asking me 1,003 questions, and I didn't have an answer for any of them. My least favorite questions were, how old are you? What day is it? Who's the president?
I know, I remember that too.
They told me that my mom had come into my room, found me on my floor, having a seizure. She said that she had felt something was wrong upstairs in her bed, so she checked me and my two sisters. We each had our own bedroom, and she said the other two were fine, and she got to me last. I was downstairs, the only bedroom downstairs. They told me that they called the ambulance. It came to my house, and they had to put me into a coma to get me to stop having my seizure. It lasted for 13 hours, I think they said.
Was this your first incident of a seizure?
Oh, yes, it was.
And it was a beaut, huh?
Oh, yeah. There was a girl in the bed next to me who had meningitis, and I had both meningitis and encephalitis. And they kept telling my mom to prepare for my death. And she kept asking them, okay, what are we looking at here? What's going to happen? And they said, you need to prepare for her death. And my mom kept saying, that's not possible. I'm not looking at that. What's going on here with my daughter? And then the girl next to me in the same room died. And my mom started crying uncontrollably. And my dad is a pastor. And they held a couple of services at the church for me. And they told me that I woke up at the exact second that they were all together praying. And then they didn't let me go home for about a week. They couldn't figure out what in the world had made me get sick. The best they could come up with was the place I was working at the mall. I worked with a lot of people who drove back and forth from New York, and they figured that a mosquito flew from one of the guys' cars into mine because we parked next to each other when we were closing, just so that neither of us walked to our car alone, and that the mosquito flew out of their car and into mine. I don't believe that. But hey, I'd rather believe a mosquito from, we have this little tiny thing of water behind our house, that one of them bit me. But I don't care how I got it. Doesn't make a difference. I've got it. Basically, meningitis and encephalitis, they call meningoencephalitis. One of them swells the inside of the brain. The other swells the outside of the brain. Most people have one reaction from it, and it leaves their system. It's not so with me. It's stayed in my system, and they can't figure out how to get it to leave. I had one neurologist who told me that all they could do was wait for the next seizure and see if it killed me. So, needless to say, I only went to him once. Yep. And I had gone to Boston Children's Hospital. The neurologist I had there moved to Florida. He was my favorite doctor. I'd like to say, saved my life, because that's the only doctor I found who could really do anything. The one I have now, still at Boston Children's Hospital, was the one below him. He recommended him. Right now they're shuffling around with the different pills I take to try to keep me level. I have had 3 what they call grand mal seizures, which is pretty much the worst you can get, and each time they have to knock me out, put me in a coma to make it stop, and each time I'm in a coma longer and longer, and they just don't know if I'm always going to have this or if it's going to stop. If I always have to take these pills that I'm on, if I'm going to be able to lower them. They've tried playing with a couple of them, but I always end up needing to go back up to the level I had, or change to a different pill that's stronger. Once they overdosed me on one of them. It was a new pill, and they were trying to find people that it would work with. Evidently, I had to go to a lower level, but I'm still on that one. Like I said, I used to juggle band, chorus, drama, and my job, and of course the full day of school.
So how old were you at the time?
I was 17. And then my mom used to say I was one of the perfect kids because I never did anything to get into trouble. I didn't cause any problems with driving around. They didn't make me pay my car insurance simply because I hadn't caused any problems. I'd never had a detention or anything in my life. Then, after the seizures, every time I have one, my personality changes a little bit. Once they called me a 5-year-old afterwards. They said I'd get into trouble with everything, you couldn't trust me. Then another time I was trustworthy, and then you never could tell with me. You still can't. Like, I could be the nicest person one minute, then the next I'm the hardest person to live with. They've put me on pills for that. They've tried to eliminate some of those. Then they found they couldn't do that because they've even put me in therapy for it. And they thought about putting my younger sister, who still lived with us, in therapy for it because they said it was hardest on her than anybody. They tried to compare me to a lot of different people, but they just couldn't do it because not a single person in the world has had meningoencephalitis and lived this long. 10% of the people who get just one of them live, but they're vegetables. And 10% of that 10% live. So.
Did you have any physical problems after your injury?
My left side got a lot weaker, but I could still walk and all that. I just had to work with it a little bit. My mind got a lot slower. I have to think about what I'm going to say. I can't find a lot of words. I found myself stumbling a lot. I used to sing a whole lot and play my instruments, but whereas I lost my left side, it made it a lot harder to do the piano and the flute and all that. And because it grew weaker, I didn't have the strength to do the guitar anymore, so I tried moving to the violin. I can't roll my drumsticks anymore.
Now, did you go through rehabilitation, and what extent, if you did?
They tried working with my mind to get me back to the reading level I was at. I cannot read a paragraph or a page of a story and pull out the questions they want. I'll have to read a sentence 5 times over to understand it once sometimes. After one of the seizures, I didn't have to wear my glasses anymore. Then after another one of the seizures, I needed a stronger pair of glasses, and it just has messed around with that a whole lot. I love to read more now, though, that I can see better.
How long of a duration was it in between seizures?
At the beginning, it was 7 months to the week. Now I can't tell.
So you've had 3 seizures?
I'd like to say 4 of the strong ones and countless of the smaller ones. But I've started to learn when they're coming. So I know how to get myself some help, get myself on the floor, and try to get some help. It's a little hard when I'm in bed, though, trying to get everybody's attention upstairs. I do have a cell phone so that I can try to call people if no one's next to me or whatever, but mostly I'm not alone. It's not too good for me. Mm-hmm. I have a lot of problems with trying to deal with more things emotionally. And I sometimes just have absolutely no balance. Like today, I walked into a doorway. I do that all the time. It hurts. And I almost fell down the stairs. I pay a lot less attention to the ground door where I'm going. I tend to fall over, bruise up my knees all the time. All the time.
What has been the biggest thing that has changed with you, Sarah?
The biggest thing that's changed. I had already been accepted to college. I had planned almost my entire life out, and now I'm all the way back as into, I don't even know if I can if I could be able to graduate from high school again if I tried to. I barely did graduate because I was in my senior year when I got this, and all my teachers thought I had senioritis. They thought that I had just given up and that my grades were a result of just not trying. My parents had gone to the guidance office and told them, but they neglected to tell all of my teachers what was going on. And when my mom went down to the school and talked to my teachers, some of them started to cry because they had no idea what was going on, and they were giving me a hard time about my grades. So I'd say people thinking I can't do as much as I used to do besides myself. I know I can do it. I push the limits to see what I can do. A lot of people say that's not a good thing to do, but if I don't push the limits, I don't know what I'm able to do, just like a small child. They told me I could never ride a roller coaster. I didn't like them before they told me I couldn't do it.
What have been your biggest communication challenges?
Ooh, biggest communication challenges. People just don't listen to me anymore. They just think sometimes that, oh, there's another one of those brain damaged people. They don't speak to you. They don't understand anything. You start to have a seizure and everybody pays attention. But other than that, they don't care. They still think of you as the small child. Like, let me try to think of a good example. Mostly on the movies. You see the movies like where they are trying to portray the life of the brain damaged people, and they think everybody is so severely brain damaged that they can't make a whole sentence, and that if they speak louder to you, you'll understand better.
How does it make you feel when you communicate with people? Do you feel happy, sad, or stressed?
It's got to be dependent on who I'm talking to, because my parents try to understand what I'm saying to them. If they really listen to me, they will understand. My little sister is a teenager, so unless she really wants to listen, she doesn't care what I have to say anyway. My older sister has given to actually listen to what I'm saying. Some of my adult friends, they don't care that I have a brain injury. They say, oh, she's still the same person, and they listen to me like nothing different has happened. They listen like what I have to say is important. And little kids, oh, bless them, they're great. They listen to what you have to say because they don't know what it means to have a brain injury. They think, wow, this person's talking to me, I'm important.
What are some of the goals you have for yourself at this point in your life?
I'm trying to learn a few things that I could get back out into the world and help out. Like, I've been trying to learn some massage therapy. I've been trying to learn sign language. I've been trying to learn some more Spanish. I've been trying to get back into my music. My only problem is with my memory. It seems to be getting a little bit worse as I go along. Now, it's not my long-term memory that I have a problem with. It's the short-term memory. So I have to learn things over and over and over again for them to stick. Now, my music, I think I've got the best with, because that's what I was working with in the beginning. And I helped one of the teachers in the high school teach chorus because she didn't know how to read music or anything. It was really annoying at that time, but I look back at it and think that that was a godsend, because now I have all that information, and because I had that information ahead of time, it's still in my head. And that makes it a lot easier for me to pull it up again.
Now, how has SteppingStones made an impact on your life, Sarah?
Before SteppingStones, almost every single one of my friends that I had that was not family does not talk to me anymore. Now, I found one group at a church, and they all, when we would introduce ourselves, would say, "Hi, my name is so-and-so. I go to SteppingStones." And, almost more than half the people would sit there and say, "I go to SteppingStones, I go to SteppingStones." And I was like, what the heck is SteppingStones? And they started to talk about how they have programs on how to do this and that. Like they have art classes, and we have music classes, and we have computer classes, and we have just play whatever you want to classes. And we have people come in about special music guests and art guests, and we do soap carving and all that. And everybody's everybody's friend. As long as you're nice to people, they couldn't care who you are, what you have, everybody's the same. It doesn't matter if you can't get your own lunch tray, somebody will help you. If you can't find room 1, somebody will help you. If you can't open the door, somebody will help you. If you have a seizure, there's at least 10 people in the room in 5 seconds. Not to mention the people who are already there. Somebody's going to go run for help to get all the people in charge. If you have a little panic attack, everybody's going to help you. I had one the other day. They got me exactly what I needed. Whether it's a little pat on the back, a little hug, some saltine crackers, or a glass of water, they're always there. We have occasionally a couple of parties. It doesn't matter what you want or need. Somebody's always there to help you. If you're not comfortable with something, somebody's going to help you if you talk up. Nobody knows how to help you if you don't talk up. If you just feel you need somebody to talk to, or you just want to laugh. If you need help climbing the stairs, we got the elevator. We have games like volleyball, but we play with a beach ball. If you have an idea for a game, somebody's always willing to listen, just the idea for a game. If you like to play a certain game, just speak up and people will be willing to listen to the idea. We'll try it. We don't make you do anything. You can choose what you want to do every day. We have morning groups, afternoon groups. We have an hour for lunch, cooking groups. We got a bunch of people who like to cook anything.
So basically what you're saying is that SteppingStones has made you be a social person again?
Yes, this is my social club. We take trips out into the community where if you don't feel comfortable, what do I want to say, talking to the cashiers, we have people here who will help you learn what to say to them, help you learn what to say on the phone so you can write it down on a piece of paper and have it there with you at home if you need that. It's just a wonderful place to be where you can learn anything and everything you need to. If you need help finding yourself a house or something, people can point you in the right direction of what you need to do.
Now, what has SteppingStone done specifically for you?
Done specifically for me? It's made me alive again. I used to sit on my couch, play video games, watch movies, watch TV, and sleep. That was it. I didn't do anything. I barely even got dressed sometimes. The only time I left the house was if I absolutely had to. And then sometimes I would start getting dressed just to go to the grocery store with my dad to get outside. Doctor's appointments was my life for a while. And then I started coming here and I had friends again. I had the opportunity to help other people who needed it. I had the opportunity to make cookies. I love making cookies. I could help out with races. I could help out with art classes. I could, even if somebody just needed a direction that I knew, it was great. Anything to help out. I bring in beads for art classes. I love art. I would go to music classes because I hadn't done anything with music in a long time. It's now been about 5 years since I had my brain injury. 23, and life has just been grand the last 5 years. I can't drive still, but I have people who drive me around, thankfully. I'm trying to find some kind of transportation to get me here on a regular basis. I come most days, but sometimes there's just no ride.
So Sarah, do you think you might be looking for an opportunity to volunteer someplace out in the community at this point?
I do. I help at the library. I read to kids, help them with projects. Sometimes I go down to the school and I read with them. I help out down with the drama club at the school. I donate things to them sometimes. Like, they love the IV pole I had to bring home once. They did The Outsiders, and they used my camping cot and my IV pole, and they loved it. They can always use the help. And
now, Sarah, is there any other message that you would like to portray in this interview?
Don't give up. There's always more out there. People will always help you, but you have to speak up.